All right, so look, man, we're gonna do a tricep kickback. All right, and what that looks like. And
Cool.
pardon me if I lose you guys. I'm gonna adjust these AirPods.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna do a tricep kickback. Okay, we're gonna take the dumbbells, right, and we're gonna bend over slightly, and we're gonna do an extension. Now, the point with the kickbacks though is you want to keep your elbow in the same position in this motion. Okay, you don't want it like drifting forward or drifting upwards, right? You just want to keep it in the same position because you're trying to isolate the tricep. So try to maintain good form with this and keep your arms, straight, of course, and keep that elbow in the same position. Boom. And then, when you come back, make sure you try to contract, okay, to get that pump. All right.
What we say it was like
So
the
we got
slalom,
that.
right? In one of our
Yeah, you,
episodes
you, you
previously,
call yeah,
it
you
was like
call it the slalom. Yeah, I like that. I like that. There you go. So,
ski.
and then we're gonna do a crossbody. We're gonna do a crossbody hammer. All right. And so it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna grab a small weight to kind of show you the motion. So you're coming up and you're bringing the dumbbell like to your upper chest. All right. So
Ah,
what
like
this
that.
helps. So yeah. So what this helps is try to develop that muscle separation between your bicep and your tricep workouts. And then we do again 3 sets of 10, and we'll find something new. We'll
All right,
find
cool.
something new.
All right, so what
All right.
y'all said? Y'all said. All right,
I'm
You got
good.
it.
so my next question. Um, so Reed,
Yes.
what was childhood like for you, yo? Like what when you finish your set though, you ain't gotta talk during your set, right? That's
No,
you gotta go point with
no,
that.
you know what?
But what was
Um,
what was childhood like for you? Like,
childhood was for the overall because I know my family is going to see this. Overall, my childhood was amazing, all things considered. Um, my father, my father and my grandmother raised me. My mom was present. My mom was always around, but
yeah,
I was raised by my grandmother and my father, and they made sure that I wanted for nothing, especially given the circumstances. Right
okay.
now, with that being said, um, so cerebral palsy is relatively common now, but when I was a kid, it wasn't so much, right? Like it became common, or it didn't feel common to me as a child. Let me say it that way. It didn't feel
Oh,
like people understood when I was a child. So a lot
Uh-huh.
of a lot of my childhood consisted of, I don't want to say bullying, but people didn't understand. So there was a lot of slick remarks being made. There were things that I
of
couldn't do
course.
with the other kids. So you kind of feel like an outcast, right?
Yeah.
But it never really bothered me. Well, maybe a little bit, but I never let it get to me. I never let it dominate my thoughts. You just gotta keep it
Yeah.
moving. Um,
Yeah.
and when you introduced me, you mentioned that I was a MC.
I was waiting for this.
No, because I I rap, but I don't really plug my music like that. Um, but hip hop, to quote Lupe Fiasco, hip hop kind of saved my life.
Saved my life.
Yeah, because hip
Hip
hop,
hop saved me.
when I felt like an outcast, hip hop was kind of like the refuge, like music. And I won't just say hip hop, music in general. My love for music is what kind of got me through the rough parts of my childhood.
Yeah.
Um, so when I felt like I was being picked on, or I felt like an outcast, music was an escape.
Yeah.
So a lot of my childhood is rooted in just listening to music, and I really enjoyed my childhood for the most part. Like let me say that, like my pop, and you'll hear me mention my pop a lot in this conversation because that stereotype with black men,
Uh, uh,
how black fathers. I had to explain that to my mother because my mother always, my mom and my dad aren't together.
Yeah.
Um, and my mom never really understood why I praised my dad so much. I mean, I love my mom. Don't get me wrong. I adore my mother, but my father. I was one of the only kids in my class that had a present father. You know what I mean?
Did you grow?
Wow.
You grew up in the city?
Wow.
You grew up in Philly?
Yeah, grew up in the
Yeah?
city.
In the
West
city.
Oak Lane section. Yeah, West Oak Lane section of Philadelphia, if anybody is watching.
Yeah.
So my father always did what he could. And my father was a military man. So he was stern, but he gave me structure. And I needed that more because of the cerebral palsy. You know what I mean? Like my father never let me feel but too down on myself. Like, oh, you can't play sports in school? I'm gonna take you somewhere where you can play sports. And you just kind of adjust how you play. You know what I mean? Like my father,
Sounds like a hell of a man.
yeah, my father made sure that I joined a flag football team when I was in school. You know what I mean? So I've never really felt like too different as a child. It was more so just mental. And that's the issue with cerebral palsy. It can get into your mental. It's easy to kind of feel depressed, like you can't do something. And because of the structure I had as a child, I would have those moments, but I would always be able to fight through them because my father raised me to be strong.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
That's a very layered question. You know what I mean? So,
You unpack that. You unpack the hell out of that shit.
Yeah, I try not to be long-winded, but
You're not. Nah.
Hey, do it. Hey, nah. We embracing it.
Yeah,
Please
and
do. Please do.
that was dope.
Please
That
do.
was dope.
Thank you.
That was dope.
But yeah, my mother and my father were both there for me in different ways to make sure that, you know, despite the disability that, you know, I felt like a normal child. I felt like I had a normal childhood. Like me and my pop always went to wrestling events. Like that's probably one of the best memories that I have as a child is going to wrestling events with my pop. Like we did that every 3 months. Every time WWF or WCW came to Philly, we was in there.
Who was your man? Who was your man?
Oh, Randy Savage, hands down.
Randy Savage was your man?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no, listen. I met Randy Savage.
Oh, snap.
You want to talk about a dope childhood.
That's dope.
Dealing with a disability. My father made sure I had a dope childhood. That nigga took me out of school on a Wednesday. I'll never forget
Hell
this.
yeah.
Took me out of school on a Wednesday. We drove to the Cherry Hill Mall in Jersey so I could shake hands with Randy Savage.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
I still got 2 of his autographs. Did he
get any Jerry Curl juice on you?
No. His hair was actually dry that day. That was crazy.
I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing to sign the honest. I don't want nothing.